This is Liberty DeVitto, and you're listening to the Nothing Shocking Podcast.
Want to know what's going on in the world of music? Then tune in to the Nothing Shocking Podcast, a non-genre based, all ages friendly rock and roll program. Join us weekly for interviews with all your favorite rock stars from the mainstream to the underground. You can find us at nothingshocking.libsyn.com or anywhere you download podcasts.
We're putting the band back together.
The numbers all go to 11.
I'm talking about bands that rock. Led Zeppelin. What about Sabbath? AC/DC. Motorhead.
Does that mean it's louder? Is it any louder?
Well, it's one louder, isn't it?
We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
I get up off the ground and raise my head. Days like this, think I should be dead. One for Satan, two for me. Let's cheat the devil, it's fun, don't you agree?
Welcome to the Nothing Shocking Podcast. I'm your co-host, Jeff Untied, and with me in Dog Bowl Studios is
Coach Nez.
You can find the Nothing Shocking Podcast on Libsyn or any podcatchers. Like our Facebook page or follow us on Twitter at NoShockPod.
You can also find the Nothing Shocking Podcast on Rock Rage Radio every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. Central Time. Our sponsor is Ragged Records, located in downtown Rock Island, Illinois, and downtown Davenport, Iowa. We'd like to thank the Hong Kong Sleepover for allowing us to use their music for our intro and bumper ending. Tonight's guest is
Liberty DeVitto, formerly of the Billy Joel Band.
Yes, he's promoting a book that he released during the pandemic called Liberty, Life, Billy, and the Pursuit of Happiness.
Yeah, and I discovered a band that he's done 3 albums over the last couple of years, the Slim King, kind of an R&B blues band, really good.
Yeah, very cool. Hey, it was a great interview. Let's get to it.
All right, good night.
Good night. Liberty, welcome to the Nothing Shocking Podcast. I'd like to introduce you, my co-host, Jeff Untied.
Liberty, it's great to meet you tonight.
Jeff, wonderful to meet you. Eric, wonderful to see you. I don't see you, but it's wonderful to hear you. And it's wonderful for you to hear yourself, too.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for all the correspondence. Thank you for doing this with us. We're excited to have you.
Good. Okay, now say something to insult me and I'll hang up.
Well, let's get this thing started here. In July of 2020, the height of the COVID pandemic, you released your book, Liberty, Life, Billy, and the Pursuit of Happiness. Can you talk a little bit more about the massive overtaking of when it comes to writing an autobiography?
It is a labor of love. Thank goodness. I mean, I was doing it for 15 years when I left Billy. Actually, even longer than that, because it started out as a memoir of my family history, because I have 4 daughters. I want them to know where we came from. Italians came in over from Italy, grandparents, all that kind of stuff. And then when I parted ways with Billy, I thought, I'm going to write about me and Billy. And it was ugly. But then I thought, why am I doing that? I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, even though I know where the bodies are buried. So I thought, let me look at this, view it from standing inside Billy's shoes. Why does he do what he does? I mean, the man had a career for 50 years or more. And, you have to, in the music business, you have to make changes. And sometimes it hurts. You don't mean to hurt somebody, but, to make that change and stay alive, you have to,
Absolutely.
So, it was hard. But harder than that was to do the audiobook and read my own words. That was hard. Because, books were made to be read, not said.
Exactly. Jeff, do you have the next question?
I guess I've never seen that process. How does that work? Do you do multiple takes or you just read it? And how did that work?
Oh, yeah. I sat there with the engineer. I was in Richie Canada has a studio out in Long Island, Cove City it's called, and Richie was behind me, and I had blown up the book like the bigger print so I could read it, really nice and easy. And the three of us had these big, fat loose leaves of the book. And every time I would say weed instead of we would or something like that, I'd say, nope, that's not right. I have to do it again. Or if I would move my hand across my corduroy pants, you could hear it. Nope. Because Audible, it's on Audible, they inspect everything under a microscope. It's unbelievable, So that took a long time to do. And I get tired after you read for a couple of hours,
Yeah.
And they could hear it in my voice. Like I started out like, the day was great and it was wonderful. And by the time of the end of the day, I'm like, and then I went into the bathroom. And then Richie would stop me and go, no, you say restroom, not bathroom.
We've spoke to many artists that have wrote books. They all face the same dilemma when it comes to narrowing down and expanding on certain stories and what to include and what to not include. What was that process like for you as far as, including these stories have to be included, and then I don't know if this story is good enough for the book? How did it work? How did you narrow things down?
Well, it came out on Hudson Music. They do a lot of drum books and stuff like that. It was the best place for me for them to be the publisher because they do a lot with the drum community and it's not really a drum book. It's like my life, but it's about how a drummer whose grandparents came from Italy became this the drummer for one of the biggest single artists in the world. How did that happen? And I got tired of watching American Idol and all that kind of shows like that where they win a contest and you get a record contract. No, it doesn't happen like that. You got to pay your dues. And that's what I wanted to write about. So as I was writing it, my good friend Dom Familaro, you might know him, he told me, he goes, you just write down a thought. And once you write down that thought, the next thought will come. And it just keeps flowing like that. And then I had help from the guys from Hudson Music. They helped me edit it. And there was one part in there that they said, no, you can't say that word. I didn't realize that some of the words that I was saying, they don't use them anymore.
Oh, very good.
Well, yeah, you talk a little bit about the Ed Sullivan Show and the Beatles, and as inspiration for learning the drums. Can you talk a little bit about that experience of seeing them on TV?
Oh yeah, well for me the Beatles, I tried to play the drums when I was in 6th grade, and I couldn't do the buzz roll and the Star Spangled Banner, so the teacher told me to put the drumsticks down. I would never do anything with the drums. So I got discouraged. And it wasn't until I was in 8th grade and I was walking the halls and seeing these other beings that were called girls, and I wanted to meet them. But the girls wanted to have nothing to do with me. To say you wanted to play music in 1963 and 64 was like saying that we were going to, land on the moon one day. They thought you were insane. And the funny part is that me and Neil Armstrong proved them wrong. So when the Beatles came on the Ed Sullivan Show, I saw the crowd when the camera panned the audience. I saw the girls screaming for these not that good looking guys. And then I saw my sister and her friends screaming at a black and white TV at these not that good looking guys. And I thought, this is a great way to meet girls. I want to do that. Frick the buzz roll. I want to do that. And I still can't do a good buzz roll.
I kind of wanted to bring this back to the book again, is that with your book being released during the pandemic, how do you feel the fan and consumer response was upon the release of the book during the COVID pandemic? Were you pleased with how it all came about as far as consumer consumption for you, or did you feel like that the book maybe kind of came with a little bit of a hiccup during that pandemic, the height of the pandemic?
Well, my attitude was, like my wife told me, she goes, if you sell one book, that I'll be happy, you know. And so when I found out the advanced copies, I had to sign 2,000 of them, you know, 2,000 books before they went out. I was pretty happy about that, and it just kept selling. And when I do gigs, it keeps selling when I'm playing gigs and stuff like that. But yes, the pandemic kept me from like doing a book tour, all that kind of stuff. So I think I think a book. I was told by a publisher from a really big book company. They said, you know, books never die. You always carry them with you. Right. And, you know, people are always interested in what happened between me and Billy and all that kind of crap.
Oh, very good. Jeff, do you have the next one? You want to take the next one?
Well, you kind of alluded to not being able to do book tours. And now that stuff's kind of settling down a little bit, do you got any plans to go out and do any now?
Well, yeah. Well, the band is playing a lot now. The Lords of 52nd Street, the band I have. Yeah. And so, you know, every gig we're selling books. And every gig I go out front and it's like people want, you know, they got that cash in their pocket, which is nice. Yeah. And it's like, hey, I'll sign this if you buy it. Oh, great, yeah. And you got Richie Canada and Russell Thomas there too, who are in the book, and they'll sign it too. You know?
Oh, very good.
So cool. It's just crazy. It's really crazy. It's crazy.
Fantastic.
It's a labor of love. You don't make money at it. You know.
I wanted to kind of switch gears on you a little bit here. Is that I wanted to bring this to the forefront with Little Kids Rock, is a nonprofit organization you've been a part of since 2003. Can you talk a little bit more about the, I guess maybe the process of that you got involved with Little Kids Rock? How did it work for you? Can you kind of give us the origins of it all?
Yeah, sure. It was when I had just parted with Billy, and I was, you know, at home, and I got a phone call from Little Kids Rock, the guy, the CEO and the founder of Little Kids Rock, Dave Wish. I didn't get a phone call from him. I got a phone call from someone at Sabian Symbols, because Sabian Symbols supports Little Kids Rock too. And they said to me, this organization called Little Kids Rock is up in this school in the Bronx, a really bad school. And somebody's coming in to do an interview for a magazine. And they said, if there was somebody from a popular band there, they would get more coverage. Would you go do it? So I said, yeah, sure. I hopped on a train and I went up into the Bronx, up to like 138th Street or something like that, whatever the school was. And I sat there and did the interview, and when I saw what they do with these kids, I was amazed. I was hooked immediately. And I thought, I would really like to be a part of this. And now me and Dave Wish, who is the CEO, are very close friends, and I do anything for them.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. You know, as the Little Kids Rock philanthropy has flourished over the years, has there been a blueprint as far as to expand the philanthropy, or is the blueprint pretty much kind of the same? Don't try to fix what's not broken type of methods, or is there like expansion into other parts of of other states in the United States, or how's it work as far as just East Coast?
Well, when Dave Wish started this Little Kids Rock, he was a school teacher in California. He saw kids hanging around in the hall after school was over, and he said, I'll teach you how to play the guitar if you give me the time, you know. And he had started out with 20 kids, and over 500,000 children have gone through Little Kids Rock already. I've been to Guatemala with him when he opened one up there. We've been all over the world, and it's gotten so big that, yes, to keep it the way it is, you teach the teachers in the schools how to play instruments. You know, they say that the greatest teacher is only really one page ahead of the student. You know, so it's like that. You teach the teacher how to play a progression in E, and so they'll teach the kids the E chord and tell them you can play 25 songs with just playing this one chord. And then you teach them the A in the progression. They can play 100 songs. And then you teach them the full progression, the A the EAB progression, and they can play 150 songs with those, you know.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
Oh.
And you know they love to play Hang On Sloopy and stuff like that, you know.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah.
Did you ever get the next one?
Yeah, you know, one of the things I like is, you know, diving into an artist's back catalog and you maybe finding something that you don't, you know, not everybody might know about or hear about, but, you know, just digging around, I found, I think it was called Great Circle, came out in 2013. It featured Liberty DeVitto, Patrick Thrall, and I might mess this one up, but Bashiri Johnson. Can you talk?
Yeah.
I think there was like 10 tracks. Can you talk a little bit about the making of that album?
Well, let me tell you something. Somebody sent me that, and it was so long after we did it that I could not remember anything about it. I could not remember anything about it. But then when I listened to it, I was like, oh, I remember this now. But it was like one of the first times I really had to play to a click because everything was to a click track.
Oh, okay.
And I think Stefan Galfis was the producer on it or something like that. And but the reason why I forgot about it was because it was the same time that Phil Ramone came into the studio where we were working, and I called Billy because now Phil had Mick Jones, who you want to talk about.
Yes.
So we're going to produce Stormfront. So Phil was really hurt by that. And so I put Billy and Phil on the phone together. And Billy got really mad at me for doing that. So that's the only thing I remember about those sessions.
Let's switch gears a little bit here. So 1989, Mick Jones released his one and only solo album. You were one of many contributing drummers on that album. Can you talk a little bit more about your participation with Mick Jones and his solo album? What's the story behind that?
Well, he was doing it while we were making Stormfront, right? And he was producing Stormfront. Now, I was told as we were going in the studio, and Billy told me, oh, we're going to get Mick Jones to produce it. He's a fan of yours, and it'll be good. Okay, great. So we did a couple of songs, maybe 2 or 3 songs, and I wasn't getting any vibe from Mick, like he's a fan of mine or anything like that, until we did the Down East for Alexa. And I came up with that drum thing, it sounds like a boat and stuff like that. And that, when I walked back in the studio, he had to take it. He looked at me and he goes, that's the Liberty DeVitto I've been waiting for. So then he asked me, he goes, I'm going to put together an album, it's partly done. Would you play on a track? I said, sure, I'll play on a track for you, not a problem. So it was in the same studio on the same drum set that we were using for Stormfront. And it just worked out, and Mick turned out to be a great guy to work with.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. The Slim Kings, I saw there was some, I think you did an album in 2012 called Fresh Socks. And how many albums did you actually do with those guys?
3.
3, okay.
3 albums, yeah. Slim Kings, it's such a different business now than it was when I was with Billy. In the old days, an A&R guy would come down to the club you're playing. If he liked your music, he would say, come to my office in the morning, and we'll sign you to a development deal, which meant 3 albums, and, we'll make you great.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's like you have to have everything. And then they want everything, record companies. So it's like you try to do it through the internet. There's 1,000 people on the internet. What I do is the Slim Kings keep me current because the other guys in the band are much younger than I am.
Yeah.
I'm like their dad. And the thing that connects us is they'll come into me and they'll play a rap tune or a hip hop song, and they'll go, we want to do a groove like this. We want to learn a song with a groove like this. And I'll say, that's from Motown. That's a Motown groove right there. They sampled Motown, So that connects the old with the new, it's fun. They keep me current, the Slim Kings. So current that me and the bass player from the Slim Kings now are doing this thing where we record these instrumentals. I'll lay down a drum beat, a groove, and I'll send it to Andy, the bass player, and he plays guitar and keyboards, and he'll add to it, and it's become instrumentals that would be great for movies or TV and stuff like that. And we just signed with this agency that does placements and stuff. They loved it,
Oh, so cool.
And it was like 2 weeks. 2 weeks. We worked for 2 weeks, and they signed us. It's almost like don't work so hard at it. You'll get signed. You're working too hard. You're overthinking it.
So the new one, the 2020, the King's Country Classics. You're on that one.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was my favorite Slum King album.
Yeah, it's
we did
great.
that we did that in a studio called the Diamond Mine in Long Island City in Queens, and it had all vintage equipment. I mean, I played on a bass drum that had to be like 90 years old, and the snare and everything. And they only used 3 mics on the drum set. And the funny thing is with the this new thing that we're doing, me and Andy, we're called Songs in the Basement. And because I go in the basement, I take my iPhone and I put it in the rafters of my mother-in-law's house because I have a drum set there. And that's how I record the drums. And they sound like old school drums just going in the iPhone. And it's insane.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that is. I really enjoyed that new album. It's pretty cool.
It was fun.
As I can't help but the elephant is in the room. But as we look back at the Billy Joel discography, as you were in the band, what album do you feel wasn't the best interpretation of the band? I guess maybe your least favorite album from the Billy Joel era, with Liberty DeVitto on drums.
Okay, my least favorite album probably is, I would say, The Bridge, maybe. I don't know.
You're not going to give it. You're going to give any more information than that. You're going to kind of give us a little backstory.
Well, every album has a couple of songs that suck on it, and I don't like. I don't like Christy Lee on Innocent Man, but I like Innocent Man. I don't like on the Bridge album. There's a couple of tunes I don't like, but it's got Matter of Trust on it, and it's got This Is the Time, which good songs,
Oh yeah.
But it's not as good as like 52nd Street and The Stranger and I Like Hurtin', because Billy was going through a lot of shit then. Did I say that?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, absolutely. You bring up a really interesting, I guess maybe question for me is, we see this with all artists is that you get an album together and it never fails. There's always one, maybe 2 songs that are kind of like that filler to get through the album. Have you ever been a part of an album where you can say like, hey, there's not one track on this entire album that hasn't been filler?
I think 52nd Street comes close to it. That's what I think. That one.
Yeah, very good. Yeah,
it comes close.
Oh, okay. Jeff, you got the next one, or do you want me to take the next one?
Well, I've asked some of our guests before, just about, being in a band and being up on stage and you're playing a song and it probably comes more from the singer sound point, but it could be from the drummer too. When you're up there and the crowd just like totally gets into a song and you have one of those moments where the crowd's singing along or something. Can you just, have you ever had an experience like that and just what it means to you as an artist?
What the crowd is singing along?
Yeah.
I guess maybe where the crowd takes over the song.
Yeah, where they kind of hijack the song.
Oh yeah. Sometimes like when there's a breakdown and they're singing it, like Piano Man.
Yeah.
There's a breakdown, and the crowd sings the last chorus. Sing us a song to the Piano Man, and I've got to like keep time. They're all over the place.
Yeah.
Like Billy said, there's a lot of bands that they do a breakdown. They say, all right, everybody clap. And Billy would say, like, I don't want you to clap. Because when you guys clap, it sounds like, don't clap.
Yeah. Well, you played in some pretty monumental, places, Madison Square Garden and to name a few. But what was your? Did you have a favorite place that you guys played?
We played huge places. We played Giant Stadium 6 nights in a row. It was a Yankee Stadium. That was crazy. We were the first band to play Yankee Stadium. You know, that was sick.
Yeah.
But you know, Madison Square Garden was always the dream. Like being in high school, and people even wrote in my yearbook, like, keep your head and keep practicing, and one day I'll see you at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
Backstage was a dump, there. Real dump.
All right, Lib, I got one more question for you, and we'll leave you alone for that evening. Deal?
All right, whatever you want.
All right, man. So I asked this question to a lot of our artists, is that, you know, the internet has kind of taken the mystery out of rock and roll. You know, before the internet came along, we didn't know a lot about artists. We get those magazines once a month, like Rolling Stone or what have you, or a Hit Parade or whatever you want, whatever magazine it was. And now, kind of like the cat's out of the bag. There's no mystery in rock and roll anymore. We pretty much know the ins and outs. And the beauty of the internet is that if we didn't have the internet right now, we wouldn't be talking to you right now as well. But, you know, as far as your preference goes, what do you prefer? Do you prefer the mystery of rock and roll, or do you prefer the accessibility?
I prefer the mystery. I like the mystery. I like the fact that you had to go get the album to read the credits to find out who was on it. You know, let alone who wrote the song, you know. Rock and roll has changed so much that I think, for me, personally, the Eagles ruined rock and roll. Because that California sound of sounding like the album, which gave birth to the screen in front of the drummer, you know, every mic, in-ears, all that kind of stuff that goes on stage now. Come on, the Kinks, could you imagine hearing the Kinks like that? You know, you want to hear the drums coming off the stage. You want to hear that loud, like my ear was bleeding. I saw Blue Cheer once, my ear was bleeding. It was so loud.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I like that. You couldn't tell what they looked like. Their hair was in their face. You didn't even know what they looked like. It was so great. You know?
Absolutely, absolutely. Jeff's got one more question for you, and then we'll leave you alone for the night.
Mine's probably not really a question. It's just more of a little bit of reminiscing. You know, I just want to thank you for, you know, whatever your part was with Billy Joel. You know, just, you know, all the time that you served with him. It's as a fan of the music and stuff like that. It was great. You know, I sing in. I'm not professional, but I sing in a men's choir, and we've sung The Longest Time and Lullaby before.
Oh, really?
Just love singing those songs.
The Longest Time. Yeah, that was a good one.
It was.
Wasn't it? You know, it's weird. It's like Billy did all the harmonies on that one. He didn't. There was no background singers or anything. It was just him. And I remember him telling, I said, "How did you do that?" He said, "I kept getting lost. I didn't know what part I did already." You know, I just played brushes on a tape box.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a 2-inch tape box. You know.
Well, very good. So we're going to leave you alone here, but before we let you go, was there anything that we didn't promote tonight that you would like to plug?
No, we did well.
Oh, fantastic. Lib, thanks so much for your time. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Hey, man. Well, I'll be in touch with you in about 4 weeks with your episode. Sound good? Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Everybody pulls the plug and says their last goodbyes. Move to the sunshine, fight the grip of nights. If they ever take from you, then you plug out both their eyes. They roll the dice. Take your chances.
Welcome to the night. You think you know Night Demon? Then the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast is for you. Step into the darkness as we peel back the curtain to give you an unprecedented, all-access look into the mind and the heart of the demon. We're talking band history, song analysis, studio anecdotes, stories from the road. It's everything a diehard Night Demon fan could want and more. This is the only place to learn the inside scoop, the deep dive trivia, the untold tales from the band members themselves and those closest to the Night Demon story. Need more? The Sacred Night Demon Crypt will be pried open to reveal demo recordings that have never before seen the light of day, all with in-depth commentary by the band and the people who were there for the writing and recording process. This is a gold mine, a treasure trove of all things Night Demon. Head over to nightdemon.net or wherever you listen to podcasts.